traffic today.
No kidding. Where are you coming from? You're coming from the other side though.
Yes, but I had to get from Fremont to get there
Oh,
to change
I
and
see.
come here. Thought I would have plenty of time and then I was like,
Yeah.
all right, shall we begin?
Ready? Let's do it.
Okay, welcome. We are in session for meeting of the board in public, Sunol Glen Unified School District. It is 5:05. In closed session, we will be discussing the following items. 2A, public employee appointment certificated classified pursuant to Government Code 54957. B, public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Governance Code 54947. C, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code 54957.9, agency negotiator, Pauline Barnes. Employees Organization, Sunol Chapter AFT Local, CSEA Chapter 862, and management classified employees. D, public employee performance evaluation of the superintendent. Yeah, we'll go ahead and dismiss for closed session. We'll go ahead and open our meeting. Meeting of the board in public, 6:05. We'll call the meeting to order. Regarding public comments, the governing board encourages public discussion of all items on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the board may submit a comment form prior to the start of the agenda item discussion. Comment forms will be accepted for any items once the item has been announced. Will not be accepted for any items once the item has been announced. A person wishing to address the board shall first be recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment up here at the podium as briefly as the subject permits. There is a 3-minute maximum speaking time per person on a single agenda item. The limit on discussing each item is 20 minutes. Board bylaw 9323 states the board cannot comment on a non-agenda item. However, the matter may be placed on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for action or discussion by the board per the Brown Act. Please be advised our board meeting is recorded. Okay, so. Sorry, one moment. So reporting out on closed session. Did I skip the pledge? Oh, yes. Sorry, we will now have the Pledge of Allegiance and then we'll continue the agenda.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, welcome everybody. Glad to have you here, our small but sweet audience here to join us for a board meeting. Reporting out on closed session items. We approved the following personnel items: 1, personal leave, 1.0 FTE TOSA 4th grade teacher, and the certificated and classified seniority lists. All right, that's all we have to report from closed session. We have our agenda, and I motion we approve the agenda that we have.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Board and staff reports communication, enrollment report from Ms. Molly Barnes.
Thank you. We're holding steady at 269. Yay, that's good because we're already in the month of February. Can't believe it.
All right. And now you get to give us your superintendent's report, including the flood update and the California School Dashboard District Performance.
Okay, thank you. So the first thing I want to say is about the flood update. And that is couple things. We have continued to work with Restoration Management Company, RMC, and we're now looking for quotes to fix the offices and the storage spaces that were impacted by the flood, and potentially a quote to fix the fence. So the fence is, thank you to all those hard workers on Saturday. I can't believe it was lifted up, like almost ready to poke a student. No students were ever in danger, but the removal of the mud and the ability to get that fence back up was just extraordinary. However, all of those areas need to have folks that come in and see how the structure of them has been compromised. They're just sort of leaning up at there, but still the amount of fixing has been crazy and wonderful. Also a big shout out to Mr. Hoxie and Mr. Barnes, because they are, their offices specifically were flooded, and so they have been displaced and are in the freezing cold. Ice cream can survive in their auditorium with their stuff in boxes, and it's pretty dismal. So our hope, and I know Mr. Hoxie's been working hard to get some quotes to fix that, so that's been happening as we speak. Classrooms have been impacted in their temporary locations, as we've talked about last time. This is our art room. She's also pushing into the classrooms, which then means that she has to have art on a cart, which she's doing a great job, but it's not obviously optimal. And we do have one of our K1 classes that when the kindergartners go home at lunch, she's pushing in with her first graders into another first grade teacher's classroom and having to share that space. They're phenomenal. They've worked tremendously well together. But we're hoping to get that resolved with temporary portables as soon as possible. That's just going to take a lot of time, but I don't know if they'll be here before the end of the school year. That would be great, but we're certainly needing to have that happen before the beginning of the school year. And then I just wanted to read, I have a little note. It's really important that we acknowledge everybody for what happened on Saturday. Driving up here, there was a good before picture. I mean, it is just, I'm going to come up so I can point to some of this stuff. It is, and I think I also want to thank the entire board, because we had our entire board show up for this event. So thank you to all of you. Actually, I think almost everybody here in the room. So you can see this is the fence line, and this was a before picture. And then I don't know, is it after right next to this? Yeah. And then ta-da! It's like one of those makeovers, right? Ah, look at that. The fence is standing. There's not a bunch of mud down here. Still some debris, but that's almost like normal anyway. Okay. Here, this is crazy. This is how much debris, and you can see how high it reached above the base of the fence. And then all gone. So just wonderful. A lot of hard work. Here's another one. I think for me, I know everybody felt different about different places, but the back playground, the before and after was just shocking. And you almost kind of got used to it over this past month, and you thought, oh, that's how it looked. But then the after, it's just like, wow. So that was really wonderful to see. The garden was our heartbreak. The before, just seeing that thick layer of mud and just stuff everywhere, thrown everywhere, just absolutely disaster. And I thought maybe they'll get a little dent in here because there's just so much work to be done. Thanks to Linda Hurley's husband or her son, Joe, and a crew of others. But he was working really, really hard. There's a ta-da! And actually they put the orange tree in the middle, so there's a splash of color. So it really lifted everybody's spirits to see, and you could see the class. So this is our outdoor ed classroom back here. And it was just the mud was so high, and people worked really hard in this concentrated area to get the mud removed. And then I don't know if you can see the beds. Yeah. And then the beds were also unrecognizable. And now the amount of work that was done, I just got an email on Monday from the garden parents, and they actually are going to aim for a garden. They want to have a garden work day on a Saturday with just kids could come too, but to do some more work. And with the idea of having a garden day fairly shortly thereafter. And we didn't even think that was going to be possible because the amount of debris and dirt and mud was just too high. So it's really, really amazing. And then here's some kids working, community members working in the back, the before. I'll clear it out after. And a lot of the work got done within a 4-hour time space, because we started, the kickoff was at 9, got done about 9:20. And a lot of it, this was before people were called to lunch. So that was like about noon. We did have a cleanup crew that was asked to come even after that. And I noticed that they were mostly back there in the garden because the garden got hit the worst. So they were still working back there. Here's just a few more pictures. You could see all this debris. We had 3 of those big dumpster containers. And by the end of the day, all 3 of them are filled. They're still out there. You can see them. And so they're like the look. I'm working. We also had people, just maybe show a few more. Here's a good one here. We also had people that went behind the fence line because we were realizing that that is a problem. So you could see them here, like they went back and we realized we needed to move this debris away because that could continue with more rains or more situation. It's just going to exacerbate the whole integrity of the fence. Here's Team A. There's Cheryl's family. Cheryl's looking happy to be there. Got out of bed. Here's a former Sunol parent. We had alumni here. We had a lot of high school kids that had been students here at our school. Families that we haven't seen for a couple of years. Here's 2 7th grade girls, a teacher's daughter and another gal, just working really, really hard. So there they are. See, she's smiling. I can tell. I can see it in her eyes. I'm lifting this heavy. And those things, by the way, I lifted one of those with help. That weighed a ton. What else can we see? Go scroll down. A lot of wheelbarrows. You know, this was people brought their wheelbarrows, and that was a lot of you know, I don't know. I was sore the next day. I don't know about y'all, but my legs and my hamstrings are really sore. So there's a student, mom, Team F. I love Cheryl. A huge shout out to Cheryl Thompson. She had the idea of putting these folks in teams, and then I didn't expect this. There was pride. We're Team F, and we made a difference, and it was really cute that they kind of came together as with some pride there. This is a beloved. The ball wall is a beloved thing for our place of play for our students, and so we really wanted to get. I know Miss Kent Roma was instrumental in getting this dug out. Is that you, Linda? Yeah, there's Linda in action. So we needed this muck out of here because the kids can't play ball wall until that was taken out. So that was pretty nice to see. Lots of kids showed up. You don't have to make it that big, just like to point out a few. Here's some more students. This actually, those are alumni students. Here's a group of folks that here's the sign-in station, and here was when we had the kickoff. Maybe not.
Sorry.
Or these are Buddhist folks. We had 25 or 30 people from the Buddhist temple, and no, this is them. This is the Buddhist temple from Fremont. So they came in and worked on our field area, and they're going to give us a monetary donation as well. There's Mr. Hoxie. Let's get Mr. Hoxie in on the action. There's a lot of pictures. These are, I think, going to be on our website or up on this community.
Yeah, we're
Sunol family. So these will be available because we really want to honor. I mean, look at how hard these people are working. People were just covered with mud. So here's, I also want to say, oh wait, where's the main guy? Oh, maybe down here. Here's Supervisor Halbert, who sponsored the day, donated $3,500 for the food. And these are his workers and staffers, and then that's one of the staffers' son. 16. Look at how much. I mean, they worked hard the first about like 4 hours, lifting heavy pieces of wood and lumber and equipment. So that's really nice. This is just really nice. This is the gal from. She's the head of the temple. She taught me we had to do this the whole time because it's lotus. And it means peace, love, and harmony. So she was wishing that on our campus. It was really sweet. They also did a little interview, and they said it would be shared internationally. It's going to be broadcast out throughout all the Buddhist temples in the world. Our little Sunol Glen school. Here's a great picture. This is heartbreaking. This is our back playground area. We just got a $450,000 grant 2 years ago. And part of that grant was to resurface all of the playgrounds, the exercise equipment, and the foundations for the exercise equipment came out of that $450,000 grant. Only a year and a half old, And that back playground area is just destroyed. We're hoping we'll need experts to come in and tell us. We're hoping that they could still reuse a lot of this. So that would be a cost we can save. But obviously, because it's a playground for safety, it's going to have to be professionally re-put in. So the back playground is going to be closed for a while, which is, I know the kids are not happy about that. And where's the slide being thrown away? The gnome survived from the garden. So there's little important things. But here's the slide. This was this bore the brunt of one of our containers being bumped up against it. And so a big project for this team was they wanted to get that slide removed and into the container. And I think there's a picture that shows them throwing that away. Lots of family. It was a really coming together as a community. There was critters that they were found. So the kids got, I think, a lot of joy out of participating. Here's one of our youngest workers, Olive Boberts. She's Olive, I don't know, 8 months old. So cute. She's got her shovel. She's working. All of this stuff was the chicken coop. All of these things were removed. Dylan's garden, which is a beloved piece of our history and school. That's what the goal was, to get that back in order. Here's Rich Bonderson. I mean, he was stuck in that container for hours. I was like, let the guy out, poor guy. So he did a really good job, but it was important that we fully use those containers. And that's about it. I mean, there's lots, there's tons, but these will all be available on our website. We just wanted to honor all these folks that worked for us. We had over 325 volunteers show up to clean, which is a huge shout out to so many people, but I want to thank Lowell Hoxie. Wait, we just give him a round of applause. I mean, tremendous. He put in so much time and effort to make Saturday's event meaningful. He oversaw the entire event. He had a vision of how to divide up the areas and give specific tasks that would go with that area. Cheryl Thompson, he put together the spreadsheet, had the idea, and then I don't know who came up with the labels too. Cheryl Thompson, of course. Why did I even question that? And then Serena Luker Bowden and Mark Barnes, they really had pride in those areas. And so they stepped up to be lead to make sure that the field and the garden were really well cared for. And then Christy Agamachi, a new parent to our school, that food, she was our kitchen team leader, and it's like gourmet food. So a big shout out to her. Additionally, we had our entire school board and their families helping out. 13 of our staff members showed up on that day, on a Saturday, a day off, and a lot of our students and alumni. It was just awesome. It's a great way for our students to show their school pride and the fact that they participated in cleaning up their school. I also want to thank Supervisor David Hobart for sponsoring the day and donating funds to provide breakfast and lunch. Mike Miller from Bosco's, as he donated coffee and burgers, and James Louder with the beast of the barbecue machine. That thing scared me. I'm like, it's a dragon. What's that there? And the tri-tip and chicken, so good. Chrissy Agamochi and Jennifer Lawrence led the kitchen crew and put together a phenomenal breakfast and lunch. The brownies were like hunks of heavenly chocolate. Holy cow. We also had a number of agencies assist. The Dublin Rotary Club was here. Dublin Mayor Melissa Hernandez. The Dublin Mayor was here. It was so wonderful. Assemblymember Lee and his staff, Congressman Swalwell's staff, Supervisor Albert's staff, Del Conte Landscaping and Vision Recycling, Can-Am Plumbing, and the Buddhist Temple members. Truly amazing. The before and after photos tell the story of a lot of hard work and effort and love. I am just, well, I said, not speechless, but close, because then I've said all that, so I guess I'm not speechless, but I felt speechless. I feel incredibly humbled and overwhelmed, but by how our community came together and by the amount of support we received. So just a huge shout out to the Sunol community. It was just amazing and made a huge difference. So I know that was long, but I'm not even done yet. So that was just about Saturday. So this week is Kindness Week. Nationally, Kindness Week is usually celebrated in January, but just being the caring school that we are, we like it to be coupled with Valentine's Day. It just seems more caring, and red is in the air. I don't know. So we always celebrate it in February. You can see outside are the links. Those are the kindness links. Each link is representative of a kindness act. So it's really, really cool. Sometimes it takes only one act of kindness and caring to change a person's life, and try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. That's by Maya Angelou. I love it. We are a nationally noticed kindness certified school. We have the the seal to prove it.
Ooh,
And so we are known. The kids are walking around with, have their challenge this week is to do 50 acts of kindness. And that they might run up to you and say hi and want to give you a hug or open the door for you. It's actually a really nice week to be around because the kids are treating us all very well. Every day on the loudspeaker, our leadership kids get on and do daily quotes about kindness and other challenges. There's decorations and signage up around. We just had our these vinyl signs that are put up on the boys and girls bathrooms that are all about their positive messages and you can do it, you're wonderful and be kind, and they're really wonderful. We've been talking about that for 3 years. And the culminating event is something we're very proud of. We belong to an event called Kids Against Hunger. We ask parents, the students to ask for donations. And if anybody tonight wants to donate at $5 or $10, it's a very small donation. They pack meals from that. And it's $5 for a family will get a meal. So their goal is $1,000 and I think they're up to about $200. So if anybody wants to donate, that would go towards that. That would be wonderful. And every single student will participate in the assembly where they'll actually pack the meals. So they'll feel that they're participating in helping a family in need. So it's really wonderful. And this is our 3rd or 4th year of participating. We didn't participate for 2 years because of COVID. So this is the first year that we're participating. Kindergarten Roundup is coming up February 24th at 6 p.m. If you know anybody with a cute little kindergartner or TKer, please have them come, even if they're just kind of interested. We love our school. We love to show off our school and we'd love to get some more kindergartners. That's on February 24th at 6. It's virtual because we know families are busy and they're eating dinner at that time with their 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds. So we try to meet their needs. Martin Marietta Corey, they gave us a $5,000 donation. It is part of their obligation to give the school $5,000 every year, but they delivered it. So we were happy to get that $5,000. March is Literacy Month. A lot of amazing activities to promote reading, always looking for volunteers. Anybody want to volunteer? Let me know. And Character Education is in February, and it's all about caring and kindness. If you have a child's heart, you have their head. That's what we like to tell the teachers. So you got to capture that heart. And February 13th through 20th is the February break. I also talking about academics. I know Miss Linda was bringing that up. Part of our school site council is we do ask our grade levels leaders to come and present something academically that's going on in their classrooms. And so we just had the 8th grade teacher share what she's doing. And I grabbed some to share with the board because I thought it was really fascinating and does get us back to the business of what are our students doing, right? So you guys can kind of see. So this is from our 8th grade teacher, and they do something with social studies called the DBQ project, which is document-based questions. So I gave you one of her assignments. What we're really wanting kids to understand is looking at primary documents. And then when they look at that primary document, what do they notice? What kinds of things can they conclude? And then what I love in her presentation, she also she gave what the assignment, what they're supposed to do, and she gave some samples of essays that the kids write. Because I agree with you, our job is really to be stewards of kids' learning, and that's the most important thing. Prioritizing students, prioritizing their learning, and so I think it's really important that we keep that in front of us. So I'm just sharing with you, it's a little snapshot of what happens in an 8th grade class. You each get one.
Oh, wait.
So I expect a report from each of you at the next board meeting.
Okay.
See what you can do that
assignment.
Exactly. So really proud of our teacher. This was something that we sent people on training to a couple years ago, and it's really morphed and moved on a different direction. We asked kids to use quotes, cite and explain, and this is an important step for them in readiness for high school. So she says she does about 6 of these a year, 2 per trimester, these kind of big, prolonged type of assignments. Oh, I almost forgot. Every other year, is our goal, we do a kindness photo. So this is our entire school. And we go out on the field and we shake, you can just pass it down. That was before that. Look at, we had a field, you guys, and a fence line.
I remember that.
It'll come back.
It'll come back.
Was
Better than
was
ever.
it this year or last year?
Last year,
Okay.
which is good. We did, because we do it every other year, and this would not be the best year to do it.
It's a little brown.
It's a little brown, a little chaotic out there, a lot of mud, but it's really important. So, yeah.
Spring will come.
Thank you. That's my report. I just promised.
Thank you. I liked that report.
Oh, and you all got a kindness card.
Yes,
We-
It's true.
kindness at all times,
Kindness all time.
but it's a black cat. That's
Kind-
not very
It's a
auspicious.
cat, because it's kindness at all time. It's a cat.
Okay,
It's white, it wouldn't show up if it was a different.
that's true.
Could be
I love
orange.
all cats, even the black cats, even if they walk in front of me.
Yes.
Oh,
super
I'm not,
superstitious.
okay, I guess I'm not.
Yeah, she didn't do B. I was waiting for that.
Like exhausted, okay, so Sunol Glen, thank you, Cheryl. By the way, Cheryl is here subbing for Miss Vicky, so thank you for being here. Last week, kind of, Cheryl, please help us. Gotta capture those notes, so thank you so much.
Cheryl. She
This
does
is,
everything else.
she does everything else, why not? So this is the dashboard. And it's run by the state of California, and they capture our data that is put out through CalCADS, Sean's expert layer of expertise, and information that we have to fill in and report. The testing, it was based on our CASP testing last year, and then they turned it all in, and this is what they came up with. And so one of the things that is a little bit perplexing is it's all an algorithm and it's all a formulaic system, but they don't, if things are statistically not significant, rather than just putting NA, their default is to put you under medium, and medium is considered not really the best or the worst, it's medium, but it's not accurate. So for example, our suspension rate, which last year we had 0 suspensions, kids were we were still in COVID. Well, kids were in school last year, but it was still really, we called it learning light or whatever, grade level light. And the kids were really well behaved. And so there wasn't a lot of issues. And yet we're at medium suspension rate. So it's kind of disappointing.
Maybe if you just suspended 1 or 2, it would have been better.
I would have been better if, yeah, the statistics.
Then you
would
wouldn't have
show.
the default of medium.
Yeah, something, I don't know, it's really weird. Chronic absenteeism is probably, that could be accurate, because because of COVID, we've seen across the state of California a spike in at the rate of absenteeism. Part of it is, what we're seeing is it's not only just kids being out for COVID, but we're also seeing a spike in kids out for, they call it school avoidance. And they're not wanting to come to school. And I don't know, there's anxiety, depression is increased. It's just a lot of, it's very, very interesting trend, worrisome trend. And it's something, the SELPA meeting we were just at, Brian was with me, not you. Brian was with me. They were talking about school avoidance and the depression and stuff. So the SELPA, which is in charge of mental health, is one of their areas. That's something they're watching very carefully and wanting to have programs to offset that. In math and English language arts, we're considered very high. When you look at us compared to the state, we're very high. We're pretty far above the average. And the teachers' instructional materials are the standards met. Implementation of academic standards met. Parent and family engagement, and what they want is on those metrics, they just want you to know if the standards met or not. And local climate survey, the standard is met, and access to broad courses study, if the standard is met. That's, we legally have to have all that. So then the rest of it is just information about some of our data. So do you have any other questions on that?
No,
It's pretty basic.
thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And I definitely do want to echo the appreciation to the community for those like Cheryl who put in a lot of hours to organize it. And having everybody involved and have, their heart in that cleanup was amazing. And if you're wondering why the garlic bread was so good, it's because James puts the butter on with a ladle and not a
And
brush.
garlic, real garlic.
Bravo,
So-
bravo.
I mean, there's other tricks to the recipe, but I think the real trick is you use a ladle. That's my take.
Hey,
on it.
everybody was talking about that garlic bread, so you keep ladling on.
It's a ladle.
Hey, the red tip was great too.
All of it.
Oh, and the Buddhist group is from a temple in Fremont, and that temple is tied to a temple in Taiwan that I've visited a few times, and I know people from there. So I speak Mandarin, so I was speaking to them in
You're
Mandarin.
making this up.
No, it was. And then one of the, not the shifu, not the leader, but some of the other ones, I was like, now we have Impossible Burgers because you guys are supposed to eat vegetarian, right? And she goes, well, we do at the temple, but at home we eat meat. I said, so did you try the tri-tip of chicken? She goes, yeah, I did. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So all those Impossible Burgers, I
You
don't know.
realize it's now a public record. You just told.
I didn't say who it was. So I thought that was
That
pretty
one was
funny.
from the
So,
temple down the street, not the Fremont.
so James even got the Buddhist people eating meat. So that's how good it was.
That's James.
Causing people to lose their faith. Good job. Lose their faith over me.
That's funny.
All right, so
Okay, last thing.
no one's watching these recordings. let's
Yes,
be
they
honest.
are.
Sorry.
Oh, you too. Hey, you get a lot of hits. It's viral. It's viral. Okay, I'm so sorry. I swear this is it. Okay,
That
new
wasn't
community
on- that
fund.
wasn't on here.
We were notified from a new Three Valley Community Foundation. It's a new foundation, nonprofit. And they want the Sunol, actually the community and the school to be one of their first recipients. So they are
Oh, wow.
raising funds and trying to have us be recipients of, I think their goal is $25,000. So that was really nice. And I talked to her several times. Kelly Bowers, she was the superintendent at Livermore. And now this is what she's doing. And it's a, project of love. She loves schools and she wants to make a difference. So I was like, well, yeah, we'll receive that.
Awesome.
So that's in the works as well.
So
Thank
as
you.
that comes in and we're tallying this up, do we have something that we've planned this to go toward? I know there were some supplies that we wanted to replace, but would this go toward the portables, for example, or?
Probably not to that end, but then we do have big ticket items. For example, right now, it looks like our electric ride-on lawnmower is not working. That's like a $35,000 item that was ruined by the flood.
Mhm.
So it could be those kinds of items as well. So we're gonna keep that money and we're waiting to get from Restoration Management Company what the actual tally is of damage and what they're willing to help cover. And then looking at the things that we need and then use those funds for that kind of coverage. Yeah, once we get a portable, we're gonna need to rebuild the art room. She has nothing. I mean, this is what she has. The Eagle's Nest room, gone. The books that were in the elective room, gone. So all of those things need to be tallied and calculated up what they are, and then, but that's where that fund, it will come right from that fund.
And see what can come from insurance.
Right.
And then
And then,
hardship
Oh, and
grants.
did you ever go down the road of who owns the creek and why they haven't?
Yeah. I have pictures and letters from 2015, and I sent that to the insurance company. So
So the San Francisco Water Company, I think, may be responsible for this creek.
we're gonna try.
Okay,
And Caltrans,
yes.
the bridge. Okay, sorry.
All right, 6C, Mr. Hoxie, I think Superintendent Barnes was stealing your facilities and maintenance report. But
I'm fine, I didn't have anything to do.
you haven't been doing anything, right?
No, it's been plugging along. Like she did talk about the flood. Right now, with the flood thing, we're looking at ways of getting rid of the mud on the field and areas of this. We've got to demo these portables back here and the mud pile that's back here. So we're working kind of with RMC, they get their quote prices for it, but we're trying to push because they're going to the insurance company. They don't go through us. It comes back to us through the insurance company. So I've working with the insurance company. I've talked to them today and we're trying to get some of these things done. I got bids for putting the sheetrock back up. They took off in the my office in into the building down there. And actually they're working on that. I should have an answer today because the bid I got is a lot cheaper than the bid that RMC turned in to them. So we're working on that, trying to get that going. Again, I thank everybody that came up for the clean out too. I mean, that was just far exceeded what I thought would get done that day. We're working on getting the demo building. They're prepped now. We've got all the power cut, the water's cut. Thanks to James, he came out first, the HVAC systems. So we're ready for demo on those. I talked about it last time about the leaks in the cafeteria in the main building during the big storms. These last two storms, I sealed some cracks and stuff in the cafeteria roof. It didn't leak again. The one in the main building, I don't know where it was leaking from. I never did find out where it was coming in from, but it didn't rain. Last rain, it didn't leak. So we'll have to wait until we get working on that again. The HVAC room in the computer lab quit. And the company came out and they worked on it, and what it was a thermostat. We have a Pelican system which talks to everybody and they're wireless. One of the modulars or something went out in the thermostat, so it was a major problem there. We had a sewer backup and it came up the floor drain in 202. That's how we found it. Had a company come out, snake the main line. They tried to videotape it, but they couldn't get it break free like it should. So we had another company come out and they jetted the line with a jet clean out, and they cleaned it all out, videotaped it, found roots in a cracked pipe in the sewer line. So they repaired it, so it's all repaired. Also in the process, we pulled up the tile that were contaminated in the classroom, and then I had a steam cleaner come in and steam clean the area around it, just to get as much contamination out as we could in that. And I'm working on floor company to get that all repaired too, so that's about it.
So nothing.
Busy.
Thank you. I said, so nothing. No, you've been busy. Thank you. Putting out fires for floods. Thank you. All right, 6D, technology report.
Yes, would the board like me to start off with the live streaming? It's on the agenda. It is a possibility that we could do on YouTube. It does allow for live closed captioning, which will allow for ADA compliance for folks who aren't able to hear, so they'll be able to read. And it's relatively an easy setup to do. And we could probably, like other districts around us, put it on our webpage just for folks to tune in every month. So that's what I was asked to present. If there's any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer those questions.
Sure. What does the board think? Molly, what do you think? And how do you feel about the
Well, when
idea
we,
of live streaming these
Yeah.
meetings?
when we looked into it before, one of the things that was a hindrance to us was that we're also obligated to provide things like closed caption, and that whatever we were researching didn't have that possibility. So we were like, we could get hit with that with not providing that part. So it seemed like, okay, we're just not in the position to do that. Now that that piece has been answered, I think I don't have a problem with it. I think if it helps people, to have access quicker. Right now, what we do is we record it and we post it pretty quickly. It should be up by the morning. So what this would do is it would just give people access, 8 hours earlier or whatever, which is fine, if that helps people.
It's not much additional work or effort for you.
No, we'll, like most of our processes in IT, we'll figure out a way to automate it and make sure that we minimize the time to process it.
So it'll be live streamed, but then also recorded and available for
Yeah.
later.
That is
That's nice.
What happened to December's? They said it got corrupted. What happened?
It was, I have to look back, but it was the way that it was saved. It was just not usable when we looked at the file the next day. I can take a look at the notes and get back to you on that if you would like.
Thank you.
It was the flood. It was before the flood. It was before the flood. I'm blaming everything on the flood.
But besides that, in terms of technology field, we did successfully conduct gate testing within the computer lab. Thank you to Danny Missamino for coordinating all that effort. We are currently getting ready for CAS testing, which is our state testing, ensuring that all of our Chromebooks are updated, as well as our computer lab. I'm not sure if the board kept up with the news this weekend, but there was a global wide cyber attack that impacted the vast majority of the world, to the point where it took down Italy's internet by 80%. This was due to a vulnerability in terms of, I guess, the management side of a server. And we did do updates regularly, and we were able to, make sure those vulnerabilities were plugged up. But it was a known threat, and different government agencies, for example, the Florida judicial branch was entirely hit. They got the ransomware, and a bunch of other government agencies. So it's we try to keep on top of all the known threats and try to plug them up when we see them. And that is my report.
All right, thank you very much. We want to make a motion to go ahead with live streaming starting next meeting.
Is that actually on the necessary? Or just-
I think it was a report,
Yeah.
Just a report?
Yeah.
Okay,
so you don't have to, it's not necessarily action versus.
Okay.
Although it's nice to know you guys agree.
we don't need to do anything. Okay, got it.
Just how we.
6E, Community Club Report.
So Mrs. Barnes and Mr. Hoxie already have reported on the flood damage. But our community club volunteers coordinate all the meals for the day, and Chrissy Ogimashi worked magic in the kitchen. Coordinating the foods, the funds that were donated by Supervisor Hubbard. And we had bagels, croissants, and food for breakfast, and then Michael Miller with Bosco's donated coffee and supplemented our lunch with hamburgers. James Lauder cooked up a feast of a tri-tip and chicken on his fancy barbecue, and we thank all the kitchen volunteers who prepared, served, and cleaned up afterwards. The cafeteria had to be mopped twice. And then Gary said twice more. He had to clean up again with all the mud that was pumped in. But
Yeah.
the food really helped bring our community together. Everyone enjoyed having lunch together. We also helped coordinate the teams working on the various areas, and there was so much amazing energy as everybody helped work with the, toward that common goal of cleaning our campus out. This week, we are supporting, Community Club is supporting School with Kindness Week. We have our kids decorating little colors of paint that will be added to banners that then will go up on the fence line to thank all our volunteers for helping us out with cleaning up. So it's a work in progress, but it should be up, if not by next week, the week after, when everybody gets back from school. We have our spring fling in March, on March 18th, so Saturday, which we'll have it at Mavericks in Pleasanton, and the theme is Giddy Up Gala. So, put on your Western gear and come join us for live auction, reserve auction, and mechanical bull riding. So that should be fun. It's an adults only celebration. Also in March, we are planning on hosting Bingo for Books, which will be an annual event, We're just trying to button up coordination with the Sunol Wood-Fired Oven Pizza Oven Society. And then prepare pizzas for families who will join us for lunch and some bingo. That's what we have in plan for March.
Awesome. Thank you for planning so much, doing so much, keeping the community involved. Makes a big difference. And thanks for coming over to this community and helping to organize all that. We really appreciate you. Tri-Valley SELPA report. That is our special education local plan
Association.
area, local plan area.
Local plan area.
So I went to that meeting with Ms. Barnes. So we have the Tri-Valley area that coordinates together to, pool resources, and I'm glad we're a part of it. They're doing a good job. They're looking out for those kids, and we have great resources for the students when that's needed. Was there anything else you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, the only thing, so on those meetings, because it's for a bigger districts too, I was explaining to our board president here that a lot of the information doesn't necessarily pertain to us, but almost always there's at least one item. And sure enough, there was one item. So there's, they wanted to approve an MOU to transfer the ERMS fund, which is for the emotionally disturbed children, from LEAs to the SELPA. And what they were finding is that because there's maintenance of effort portion of the funds, that for the small districts, it's that weird thing, like it's not enough money to, for example, hire a teacher, but it's a chunk of money, but we were never able to meet that metric. And so in that case, we would be failing. So their solution to that, they talked to school services, so this came as a recommendation, is that they would just take us out of that realm and just give us the money out of their budget. So Sunol Glen wouldn't lose. For us, it was like 20,000 from the state and 3,000 from the feds, I think. So we wouldn't lose that 23,000. It would still come through the SELPA, but we wouldn't be beholden to that standard. And so I think that's going to be a little bit better for us.
It helps
And
us to
because-
partner with them.
And it helps us to partner with them, like we're doing our part to, be a part of their whole consortium. And then for us, those funds are used to help support our counselor. And that's been really instrumental with, again, what I was discussing, earlier, uptick in anxiety and depression and stuff that we're seeing, all the way as low as 3rd grade, little kids. So it's not just their teenagers. But that's it.
Okay, 6G, Alameda County School Boards Association report.
There's nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So unless I've missed something I was not aware of.
No,
I don't think there is.
I think you're
Okay.
good.
Okay, 6H, structural engineer update.
Oh, I am sorry. So I
Okay.
told them to some degree, we still, we've contacted a structural engineer, Aran Shah, and he flew in from India and apparently got sick on his way home. And so was not able to come and do the inspection that he wanted to just see what would it entail to do a study. And we were getting this as a free estimate of what it would cost for a study, but we haven't completed that as yet. And I explained to the board and Molly about my encounter with DSA and trying to get a former report that our former superintendent principal informed me had been done sometime between 1991 and 96. And that in fact, work was done that completed that study, and we just don't have the paperwork that tells us what exactly was done and which year it was done. So it's still a work in progress, and I don't know if we want to put that to the next month to update. Yes? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, then I'll try and get a little bit more information, and maybe I'll give you that other person that he also gave
The
me.
name of the other town.
Yeah. And we can try them. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so is she not gonna do the comment then?
I don't.
Maybe she comes back. Okay. I had it written in there. So 7, community comments from the community. Perhaps we'll wait for a later comment. We'll move on to item for report, discussion, and possible action. 8A. Yeah.
Do you want to respond to the questions from last?
Oh, we can at the closing
letter.
comments.
You want to do
The
them
letter?
or do you want to do them now? Before we get into the section 8 items.
I'm okay. We can go to the item.
Good.
So 8A, report, discussion, and possible action to select a candidate or candidates listed on the CSBA official 2023 delegate assembly ballot, subregion 7B, Alameda County.
So this is always annual, and it's kind of hard because like people don't know these people.
You're right.
Yep.
And so sometimes one board member might know somebody or have, if you've read something, you can either not participate or pick 3. Sometimes board members will pick like Fremont because it's close to us, or, a little no rhyme, no reason, but there's 3 that you have to pick out of the 4. So it's totally up to you.
So I went through them and I would say that from what I saw, I would pick Diana Jones, Angela Norman, and Chrissy Wang.
What about them that made you?
Their background and qualifications, they struck me as probably better suited for this role than Sarah Prada. But it's a somewhat of a toss-up to some degree, but I think that the overall they seem the 3 strongest from the background standpoint.
Okay.
So you can make a motion to
Okay,
do those 3.
motion to approve those 3?
I'll second it.
All right, all approved?
Yes.
Aye.
Sorry, I just need, because I'm trying to follow here,
Yes.
just needed to make sure, so.
You want a
okay.
roll call?
Roll call, I guess, so Brian?
Aye.
Okay,
And I seconded it.
I mean, you
And
need
you
to
vote
vote.
also
Oh, aye.
affirmative.
Yeah,
I'm
so I
sorry.
abstained.
Yep.
Sorry, that was a.
Yeah,
Thank you.
aye.
Okay, 8B, report discussion possible action to sunshine the initial bargaining proposal 22-23 with the Sunol Glen Federation of Teachers, AFT Local 1494, and the Sunol Glen Unified School District. Would you like me to read this letter out loud, or
You can, yeah.
do we need to? I don't think so. Mr. Wheeler, would you like me to read it out loud?
In text form is lovely. No-
There it is. Perfect. You did an excellent job with the letter.
I can't claim credit for that, unfortunately.
Any comments?
I did sign
You
it.
did sign it though, as the president.
Any comments, thoughts?
Not for me.
Great. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, and
Brian.
all approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Linda.
Great. 7C, report discussion, possible action to form a bond steering committee or bond advisory group. Did you want to talk about that?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. I just thought that it would be helpful for us in making decisions down the road with the bond money. If we had people in the know, contractors, which had been your thought before, and even possibly financial people that have been involved with these kinds of things. To advise us, because we don't have the time to really delve in and do the kind of research that sometimes we need to do to make an informed decision. So it was my thought, and also Debbie's thought, and at one point your thought, that we have a group that could do that. We're calling it a steering committee, but it's an advisory committee that does research and helps us make informed and good decisions. And so that was something that I thought would be useful. And it doesn't have to be, with the parameters that they have for the bond oversight committee, but just a useful group. I've been involved with committees in the past that did this sort of thing, and it is helpful for those that are making decisions. So I would like to make a motion to have that kind of a steering committee. And how we design that, you had mentioned contractors. I think that's good. I have one that I had in mind, and you had one that you had in mind, and
Or what, contractor?
that
Oh.
could advise us and help us with obtaining bids that would be solid bids. And actually, James Ladder, who's here, could speak to that better than I, but I've heard him speak to a group of people where he described that. And it's absolutely true, having built my own, I had a school where we built a building from scratch. And I'll tell you, not knowing some of the things that I know now, it would have made life a lot easier, quicker. Things would have happened, and we would have saved money had I known some of what I know now. And having, people with experience dealing with that really helps expedite and save money, expedite the whole process. So anyway, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree, having people to give advice helps a lot in doing research and that. So we have a bond advisor, we have an architect. We can hire various consultants. There may be people in the community that could help. I'm not aware of people in the community that are volunteering to give any advice like that. So as far as having a bond steering committee or a bond advisory group, I don't think we want to formalize anything. It becomes onerous and difficult to kind of use that to help us. We do have,
I don't know why it would be onerous.
well, if we
It doesn't-
formalize it, then we'd have to have bylaws and rules and regulations and yeah, so we can, without necessarily having a quote unquote steering committee or advisory group, we can still engage any of these people for help and get advice and information from them.
So when you have volunteers from the community that want to help with this, you're not using them, you're hiring people to do this?
I haven't heard of anyone volunteering from the community to help us with talking to architects and general contractors, other than James Lauder.
Okay, there is one other Paul. I'm gonna say his name incorrectly, Masiano.
is he wanting to help give us
He would help
advice?
in talking to other contractors that are placing bids. Yeah,
Okay, well, if he would like to come to the meeting and talk with us of what he thinks he can add to it, that would be great. But I think that's worth looking into. Yeah. And I'm sorry, we do have one guest who would like to speak for 3 minutes on 8C and 8D, and that is where we are right now. So Thomas Allen Rubin.
I'm sorry, I thought I was checking D and E, not C and
Oh, I have
Indeed.
8C and 8D. That's fine. I can
I'm
put
sorry.
you to 8D. Would you like that?
D and E, yes.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry, my error apparently.
No problem. Okay. So if we can get some more information of what experience Paul has and that, maybe we can start talking
he's
with
a
him.
retired plumbing contractor.
Okay, working in schools, working in commercial, working residential.
I think just about everything, but I don't know if schools is included.
Okay, and you've been talking with him?
I have.
Okay, yeah, if you want to ask him to get a resume, CV information together, that'd be great.
So another person that I thought, or another area that I
Yeah.
thought would be people that have been involved with bonds or with financial decision-making
Mhm.
that could help with deciding certain things too. Just would be advisory, right?
Okay,
So there's nothing wrong with having, if people want to come and speak to us directly or to speak to Molly as basically as the administrative aspect of the implementation of the bond and the construction projects and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong or not allowed for them to come and talk to people. That's
You just
fine.
don't want a committee.
I think that the issue with a committee, like anything, is it becomes its own infrastructure. It has to have its own process. Because it's a public school, it's not private charter school or something like that. It has to have more process around it. And I think that imposes a burden on the administration here and what Molly and the limited staff that they have to focus on schooling and other things. They're quite capable professionals. They're capable of doing their job. And they've done projects before and they can do new ones as well. So I think that they're capable of doing all the things that are needed, or they will have advisors such as professional financial advisors, such as John Isom and his team, as case in point. Legal advisors, bond counsel, school has its own counsel. On the construction side, you've got an architect that works for you. You will have various other managers or what have you within the construction process that will be engaged by the school to advise them. And so the administration can make those decisions with the advice that they have. Having a third-party group do this doesn't add that much, but if there are individuals that have particular points of view that they want to present, they want to talk about, they're free to present to the board in this forum.
So
And they're
if you
also,
have-
they're
Okay.
also free to talk to Molly. And they're individually, they're talking to you clearly. So from that standpoint, having a formalized committee doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
So these people that are able to come forward and interview or walk around with the people giving us bids for different things. How do we arrange that if there's not some sort of committee? They just make themselves available and you will enlist them to come?
so are you suggesting that anyone that lives in the community that wants to come, bend the ear of the architect,
Well,
can
that's
ask
why
questions?
we were trying to get some people that are qualified to help.
Yeah. So if they are qualified and if they do want to help, by all means, they can come and let us know what they feel like they could add in giving advice to us as a board.
Okay.
Yeah, that's welcome.
I still do not, and I want it on record, I do not want the architect to take charge of all this. I would like to see other independent people involved in giving, maybe several bids, not get just one structural engineer. They get 2 or 3 and go from there.
Yep, That is typically the process of
I know, it
Design.
typically is, but no,
engineering,
we
Yeah.
were having something else presented to us last month and
getting bids.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion on 8C? And we'll move on to 8D, report, discussion, and possible action to approve resolution number 22-2023-17, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds 2022 election Series A in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $3 million and approved related documents and actions, including forms of a bond purchase agreement and preliminary official statement. And I won't be reading all 33 pages or the 59 pages.
and when do you plan to do this?
Plan to do what?
To have the sale? You're having them go forward with the 3 million?
Mhm.
Why don't we have bond counsel present? Good.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Barnes. I'm Courtney Jones. I am a partner at the law firm of Jones Hall, and we have been representing the district as its legal counsel in connection with this item before you tonight. And a belated congratulations to your voter approval. I can only imagine how satisfying, and it's satisfying to me as a professional to see the projects that evolve over time with these successful bond elections. So congratulations to you and your community. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to your students enjoying that. So the item tonight, I know that John Isom was here at the last meeting and he presented kind of an overview of the bond process and all the steps. And tonight, the resolution before you is really the formal kicking off of the bond issuance process. Bonds are typically issued in multiple series. This will be the first series of bonds in a recommended amount of $3 million. The resolution before you, yes, it's quite lengthy. It sets forth all the necessary recitals of law, covenants to comply with all legal requirements. In doing so, it allows my firm to render its final approving legal opinion at the time that bonds are issued, that they've been validly and lawfully issued and authorized, and that they are also tax exempt for investors' purposes. The resolution, as I said, contains all the necessary recitals of law, authorizes the documentation. Board member Romo indicated he has reviewed some of the documents, has comments for me. Thank you very much. I will certainly look at those and coordinate with the superintendent on inclusion. We still have time to edit. We still intend to continue editing and refining the disclosure document. It's subject to securities law requirements that it contain all material information for investors to make an informed investment decision. So we will make sure that that standard is met. So if there's any other comments, they can be provided to the superintendent. She can pass them on to me. If there are any questions, I am happy to take them tonight. This resolution requires a majority vote for passage. And with that, then the financing team is authorized to move forward. There's still a process that needs to occur. We need to go to the rating agency, make a presentation, basically get a credit rating on the district for its bonds, and then start the investor outreach marketing period, price, and then head towards closing. That usually takes 6 weeks to 2 months or so. So this really kicks everything off.
Thank you. This looks like due on August 1st, so you're initiating this whole process on August 1st, or this is already going to start? You will have already gotten all this and give us the money as of August 1st. Is that correct?
Not exactly. So the August 1 date relates to the maturity dates for the bonds. So that's when the principal amounts are due. The timeline for this bond sale and issuance, we're in early February now. I think the date for having funds in hand at the county for projects would be mid to late March for this financing.
And how does this affect what we have been told the community will pay?
Well, when bonds are sold, these are voter approved bonds. And in connection with the election and all the materials, as required by law, the voters approved these bonds to be issued, and they will be payable from ad valorem property taxes. When we sell the bonds, there will be a debt service schedule compiled, which shows the semi-annual payments that the investors will get for putting up the money and investing in the bonds. And the levies will start to appear on the next tax roll, 23-24. Community members will see a tax for supporting the first series of bonds on the rolls. And it will be projected within the tax rates that was disclosed to voters and in accordance with the requirements of the education code.
So that's what I was trying to get at. It's scheduled, we're not paying one bond on top of the other. And so most of our electorate believed it was going to be at the end of paying off the bond that we're still paying. And I know that we won't start paying that, but how does that affect the interest that's being accrued during that time? Are we therefore going to be paying more for what we're borrowing than what was projected before?
You know, I believe that John Isom has probably addressed these questions. He's the number cruncher and expert on that. I don't have the figures in front of me right now to properly respond to your question. But I do know that we're here at this point with this structure because John Isom is your fiduciary. He's under an obligation to recommend the timing of the issuance and also in accordance with what was presented to district voters. So I hope that's an adequate response for you.
I'd have to look into it a little more because that was a question that actually came up, I think, when he was here, and it wasn't really addressed very well. Can I ask you, Debbie, was he here the night that you asked those questions? Were you here the same night as he presented? You were, right?
Well, I asked some questions and then I sent him in a letter later. So the questions I asked haven't been answered yet.
So the questions that you sent a couple weeks ago, they'll be answered tonight.
Well, this was one of her questions, was are we going to be paying more? Are we planning to borrow $3 million right now? And the answer to that apparently is yes. And that we need to kind of know. We didn't think that we were.
So the question was, are we going to borrow 3 million? The answer is yes. Can you please provide what it will be used for? So the list of things for the bond was provided when we went for the bond. We can't go outside of that. What the 3 million will be used for is to start that process in hiring the architects, designers, engineers, those people to come up with their plans to then go to DSA.
So they're planning on now.
Yeah.
And we still don't know if this is going to cost more than what was presented to the voters.
We will not take out bonds more than 10.9 million. We can't.
And it won't cost more than what was approved as per the bond measure. So in the bond measure offering or disclosure that the voters approved for, that is what is being implemented now. We are doing solely what the voters, the majority of voters in this district approved, not what the minority didn't want, but what the majority wanted.
Well, let's just
Let's
remember that
remember-
44% is a
Remember-
minority, but there's still a lot of people out there.
It was less than 44%. It was well and above over 55% who approved. So from that
It was
standpoint,
59.6.
correct. So from that standpoint, the voters approved it. We as a board are implementing. That's what we're doing.
I guess if I could just.
You have to do a comment card.
Oh, okay, since you were addressing my letter, I was just trying to, I just
So,
wanted to clarify. I
Is
was
there any
just
other
trying to-
discussion as the board? Is there any other discussion as the board regarding 8D?
Well, I don't want Debbie to be able to say what she has to say. I don't know.
I don't.
Why
have a
not
comment
wait until
card.
the oversight committee is in place before you initiate borrowing the money? And I thought there had to be a plan in place before you could start taking out the money. But I see you want to start the initiation, and I also picked up from them that it's best to buy it, to get it in lots of 3 million.
No, it can be in varying lots depending on the overall size of your bond offer or bond approval amount. The advice from John Isom was to go out with 3 million on the initial lot.
That's
So, and he said that before, basically, that was his recommendation. He's affirmed it. They prepared the documentation to reflect that, and that's what we're approving now, is whether or not to go ahead and move forward with that.
It's more the number of lots that gets more costly.
Right, I
So
know,
you
well,
could do one lot, you could
65,000
do
each
6
time.
lots, you could do 3 lots or 2. He suggested in the last discussion, it would be maybe you could go out for 3 or 2, depending on how things play out.
3 lots or 2 lots.
Correct.
Should I
Any-
fill out a card?
Is there any
now
other
and ask one?
discussion? Let's see, if the board doesn't have any other discussion, we could go to the public comment on 8D.
Even closing comment.
Mr. Thomas Allen Rubin, would you like to make some comments on 8D?
Thank you. Should I do it from?
Yes, please.
And you need to tell the 3-minute rule.
Yes, we did announce that, so Sean's got that.
3-minute with a 20-minute on the entire.
20 total,
Yes.
but we won't go over that with the comments we have. Yes, Mr. Rubin, thank
Your
you.
permission, if I combine my comments on D and E, I can be up here once and go.
Sure.
If it's in 3 minutes, yes.
Well, can I have 6 minutes? Both
3
of them
minutes
combined.
per item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. My name is Tom Rubin. I represent the Alameda County Taxpayers Association and the California Association of Bond Oversight Committee. Speaking first on bond oversight committees, we have an organization that has a lot of educational and reference materials on bond oversight committees. We are happy to assist you in setting up your committee. As part from the Alameda County Taxpayers Association, we can assist you in getting the very difficult member of a taxpayer group as a member of your committee. We have a lot of training, and we can provide individual training. We have a lot of materials. We are now going to video. We can assist in doing such things as setting up your bond oversight committee, and again, providing training for new members of the Bond Oversight Committee. In going over your materials, I noticed some of the things on the list. I would say that the list is a little bit more less detailed than we often see. I was interested in seeing in particular the roofing. I came here, I did a quick look around, took a look at your roof. Few places I thought there might be leaks. I see that you have not yet engaged a structural engineer. This can get very messy, particularly if there are leaks and there is water that gets into the walls. Very difficult to know what the extent of work will be until you actually get into the walls. This is an older building, and if you get in there and start finding things like lead and asbestos, as you know, once you start doing an upgrade, you have to upgrade the entire structure to come up to the current code. And you don't know what you're getting into. I'm a little concerned that you may be getting a little bit ahead of yourself and not knowing what all you're getting into. So my advice, speaking as someone who has done quite a bit of this, I was the consultant to the Los Angeles Unified School District Bond Oversight Committee for 17 years with their $28 billion program. I think you might want to slow down a little bit, make sure you have the scope of work and you have the process, procedures, and personnel and organization in place. Also, trying to speculate on bond interest rates is difficult, but we've seen a rapid increase recently. There are some people who believe that once the Fed stops the increases, things may come down, perhaps not as quickly, but they probably will come down, we hope.
All right,
And
thank
that
you.
is expensive.
Is that
Thank
his
you.
little 6 minutes?
That was 3.
3
for
minutes.
Item 8D.
Okay, can he finish?
On 8E, he suggests be asked to speak 3 minutes on 8E.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rubin. Any other discussion on 8D? Okay,
Motion to approve.
I second the motion.
I'm gonna deny.
Sorry,
I'm
can I
not-
have a roll call of votes? So,
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Brian Jorgensen,
In favor.
Ted Wilma,
In favor.
Linda Hurley.
I am not in favor. I think we're going too quickly. And I think we're going to,
So that is a nay.
Just name.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8E, report discussion and possible action to approve.
Say that. There's a 2 out of 3 votes, so the motion passes.
Thanks.
Just trying to follow the process.
Yes.
Get it right.
Thank you for keeping us in line. We need that.
Mickey will.
8E, report discussion possible action to approve appointment of members of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for Measure J. So we appreciate, the Bond Oversight Committee is not a glorious position to oversee all the minutia of some of the things and the important things that are being done with the bond money to upgrade our school and keep it nice, but we had, what was it, 14 applicants for our 7 positions.
Yeah. it was-
So we're very grateful to those that have applied, and the superintendent has looked over these applications. We have them, and you've made some recommendations. Was there anything you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, same thing. I've talked to a couple other superintendents and they're in big districts and sometimes they only have 3 or 4 people that are willing to do this. And so I just feel honored. And again, our little community is strong and we had 14 people put in their application. So I think that just speaks for the town. It's just wonderful. So my recommendations to the board are based on, well, first of all, we have to follow the protocol of what the 7 different categories are. And so then I was looking at the folks and then who could fit into those categories. And then my second lens is I feel that these people should be current active members of the school community. So that means that they're invested in our school, and that's why they're going to have careful oversight. And so when you have 14 people, you have to think of something to, why do we pick these group over that? And that's the folks I picked. So some of them, they fit the category and they might've been the one or 2 people that only fit that category. But also it's a couple of names I've never even heard of, and they're not currently involved in our school at all. So that's kind of how I weeded them out. So a person active in business organization and highly, highly involved in the school is Connie DeGrange. She's the current SAC board foundation, the chair.
Right.
And she is constantly looking out for the school and calls me regularly about different things that need to happen with the quarry and some of the other, the town renovation center and how that impacts the school. She had an engineer come and meet with me a couple weeks ago. A person active as a senior citizen is Lisa Ball. She's a member of ARP. A person active, and she was our former community club chair, had her kids here, still currently involved in the school. A person active in a bona fide taxpayers organization is Victoria Cloutier, was on the board previously, had kids here, and also still actively involved in the school. Did a lot for special ed for our school. A parent and guardian of an enrolled student is Chris Boberts. He's also very involved in the school, as you know. Parent, guardian, enrolled student and active in PTA is Erin Cho, and she's part of our garden club. And both these come to our community club meetings regularly. At-large community member, Thomas Knudsen, he had his grandkids here in our preschool. He's very active in the school community as well. And he's an attorney and obviously a member of, and everybody was a Sunol resident too, for my recommendations. At-large community member, I had never met this person before. They didn't really fit my criteria of being currently involved in the school, but her name is Alex Starr. And so the first time I ever met her was at the community tour, the school tour that was given in October. But I did some more research on her, talked to some more people. She's really involved in bonds and has that expertise, as well as, even though it's not current, a strong connection to Sunol Glen. Linda informed me that they were the starters of the community club. And so I would think she's somebody that would really help this group go, especially specifically with her background on bonds. And then we had so many people, and sometimes people may or may not be able to make it. So I think since we had 14 and there's so many good people, I would like to see us include the alternate members. because they're also wonderful people and currently active involved in our school. And that's Deborah Louder and Jim Garcia. So I think it would be nice to have, I know they say 7, but it could be all 9 of them are invited to the meetings and those 2 would be alternate members as well. So that's, and then that gives us 9 out of the 14. So
are you suggesting that those 2 would not actually be members of it?
It can
They
be.
can't be.
they're
They
they're
can-
alternate members. Like if
It's not a max of 7.
if you have 7, then and somebody can't attend or has to step out, because it's a 2-year commitment.
That's
So-
correct. So that it is a minimum of 7 members, so that's the minimum of what needs to be appointed. Alternates are permitted, included in your bylaws. Alternate members attend meetings so that they have the background and information, so that if we frequently see people that move out of the area or just can't make meetings, so they drop out, and those alternate members who have been engaged in the committee, then if there becomes an absence, they step into that role. But for purposes of counting quorums and whatnot, the alternates are not included.
Is there a limit on number of alternates?
No,
Okay.
it is nice to keep the membership at an odd number, because there will be a vote on the annual report or any other writings that the committee wants to do. So that's a general recommendation.
I think the other thing that we had talked about, even in the tour, I think this was Alex said this, is that you sometimes have your group could be too large.
Yeah.
And then you can't move forward. So that's why that 7 number is kind of that magical number. And my recommendation is to not go above that, but I do think we do this for our school site council. We have a number, but we always have an alternate. And sure enough, almost every year, at least every other year, somebody ends up having to drop out. And it's nice because that alternate comes and they're listening. They just they're not a voting member until they're moved into a position, but they have the history of what's happened. So it is really, we're lucky. When I'm hearing these districts,
Yeah.
only
Well,
have 3 people.
The AARP doesn't really qualify for this, the senior citizen.
Can you comment on that?
Yeah, we view the AARP membership
Well,
as
do you?
sufficient.
If they're very involved, if they're not even 60 and they are listed as an AARP member, that's what you use for, because there's a couple of people
50
here who are very involved.
I'm an ARP and I'm not 60.
I also am an
think
ARP,
it's-
yes.
Sorry.
She's
Lisa
60.
Ball
This is
60.
being recorded.
Oh. I'm 45.
At Denny's, it's 55.
Okay, I've seen 2 people that have put in there. In fact, Deborah Louder has been real involved in senior citizen, organizing senior activities monthly.
She's like
Volunteer.
40.
That wouldn't qualify, unfortunately.
Let's-
You get 3 minutes to tell them how old your wife is.
On live TV. Oh my God, I just hit my note.
Okay, I thought
She
that
told
a
us-
bona fide,
She told us she wasn't.
That's a direct quote from the statute.
what's that?
What you see there for the senior citizen member. So that's what the statute says.
A member of the senior community.
Okay, then I've been instructed otherwise that a bona fide senior citizen, they wanted someone to be involved with either a taxpayers association. And
Oops, I'm
Harvest
sorry.
Jan,
No, I was reading the wrong line.
We have that.
Harvest Jan is not, paying so much money to Harvest Jan does not make them involved with a taxpayers association.
Who are you referencing? I'm sorry.
Well, this person is Victoria Cloutier
They
and
could.
She is. Isn't she in
Says it in here.
the
Howard
Howard
Jarvis.
Jarvis taxpayer?
It's actually right here. It's even on the form that you gave us.
Right. Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association would qualify as a bona fide taxpayers association.
most of these things, you just pay $15 or something like that, and you're a member. I mean, I'm members of both of these things, and I would not consider myself. I thought the intent of this, and these are difficult things, usually everybody is AARP or that AMAC.
By the way, I am not, and I could be, but I'm not.
Yeah, but it's like a dime a dozen, everybody.
I
You're not
wasn't,
50 yet.
They
I
wanted
wasn't, I
to-
dropped out, because I got my little
I'm
free stack.
29.
Okay, do you want to,
Here's the statutory language.
So the only change that I would maybe change is to maybe add another alternate. I really liked Bill Folk's application. He was on a school board for, what was it, 20 years? If we could have another alternate, and he's a member of AARP, so if for some reason we do have someone that moves away that's a senior citizen, he could easily fill in for that.
I think we should pick between Deborah and Bill because they're their father and daughter. So maybe.
Well, in
pick
that
one.
case, I'd probably lean more towards Bill.
It's recorded.
Okay.
There
I
are a
don't
lot
know
of
him
good
at-
parents. And
I don't know
other
him at
school
all.
Districts do a lottery when they have lots of parents.
Yeah,
And they put them into a box and they pull out the one or two.
Yeah,
I think we're
I don't think we
fine.
need to do that.
Do you know him, Ryan? I don't know him.
I
I
know
love
him.
Deborah.
I know him really well. I call him Dad. But maybe
But
maybe
I
I should
find-
accuse myself. if
I'm
that's
fine
the
with that
case.
switch. Yeah, I mean, if he, yeah, I'm fine with that. And he's a Sunol resident.
Yes. He was on a school, I'll say this, I talked to him about it. He was on a school board that had 3 bonds during his time, and those bonds were not 10 or 11 million, they were like 30 million, 50 million, so he has experience with this, so. really like the idea.
I voted for Alex Starr. I promoted Alex Starr. I don't know her that well. And if you think Bill Falk is.
You mean to be in the position number 7
No,
or as an
I'm just
alternate?
saying,
Oh,
I'm
so that's
saying
okay.
that, I hit my nose. I'm just saying that he would still fit my criteria with that background of expertise, kind of
Yeah.
similar to Alex Starr, right?
Yeah,
So if we,
I was
we, I
impressed.
just, I
Those
feel,
7, I like those, they
Yeah.
all look impressive, there's no one on there
Yeah.
that I would want to take off.
yeah, but maybe switch him in for Deborah.
As an alternate?
Yeah.
That's fine, I like
That's,
that idea.
I am fine with that as well.
Okay.
He
What
will
are
give
your
you
thoughts?
good, well, I like this last thought.
Okay.
Um,
Are you okay if we put Bill instead of Deborah?
yeah, if
How do you
his,
feel
her
about that?
husband
I'm fine with
is, I am.
That's the thumb.
Can we get a nod
Your
over
wife will
there?
get mad at me.
Okay,
All right, let's vote on this one.
so we can vote on
We
these
no, we
7.
get the-
Plus the
He has a comment.
Oh, he has a comment on 8E. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. So agenda item 8E, we do have comment from Mr. Thomas Allen Rubin.
I just suggest that for the taxpayer member, that you state what organization
They
that
did.
person is a member of.
Howard Jarvis.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
All right. Would you like to use the rest of your 3 minutes, sir?
Nah.
Okay. All right.
You got 2
Thank
minutes
you.
and 40 seconds.
I make a motion that we approve the action to the appointment of members of the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee for Measure J. Person. I won't read all the
Per the
categories.
recommendation.
Per the recommendation, Connie DeGrange, Lisa Ball, Vic Coutier, Chris Boberts, Aaron Schoen, Thomas Knudsen, Alex Starr, and as alternates, but not actual members, would be Jim Garcia and Bill Folk.
Second.
Glen, Jefferson, your board?
Hi.
Okay, Tom, Ted Romo.
Whatever I am. I.
Sorry. And, what do you vote?
I having a difficult time. Some of the people that were thrown out here are excellent.
No,
And-
nobody was thrown out. They were.
You were not recommending them.
I mean,
And
yeah.
so again, we have your way and
You can vote yes, no, or
No.
abstain.
I'd like to, itemize and say, yes, I think Connie's great. Chris Boberts is a good person, but so are the other 3 you did not recommend. I think that a lottery situation that you could reach in and take something out would be more fair. That's my feeling there.
Instead of these last 3 you don't want?
These community at large, I'm not sure, they don't have to be a parent, so neither of these are. And I think they're both good people. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't have a problem with them. I think that, like I said, there are
Is there
good
someone you
people that
like
were,
more?
huh?
Is there someone you like more?
Well, I see somebody who is real involved with the Taxpayers Association. She goes to meetings. She is not from our community. I was just reading over, I'm trying to find
So is that
her.
the one you would want to change?
I would
I'm just
feel
having,
that she's more, I think she's also, I think the same person. Okay, here.
So I think that, first off, we're voting, we're not debating. So that's 1. And 2, if we're gonna debate, She lives in Pleasanton. She doesn't live in Sunol. She's not part of the community. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to bring someone in from
Well,
the
if you're
outside
looking,
if you have more than enough people from the community.
if you're looking for someone who really knows something about a taxpayers association.
We do, we have one. We have
We,
some.
we can just stick to the vote. Would you like to vote yes, no, or abstain?
I guess so.
Okay.
I think we should have done a lottery. I think that would have been the fair way to go.
This is the
Yes.
first I've heard of that.
LA Unified, I think, has used that, this one school district that I've got even the video of it.
All right.
They went through it.
We will move to item 9, consent items. 9A, approval of minutes, January 10th, 2023. 9B, approval of warrants, warrants dated 1/12/23, warrant 515-89426, warrants taken.
Yeah, you can do
You know,
it.
that was-
Okay, all of the consent items, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A motion that we approve?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes, Did you ever find out about the water? No, that was the one question for warrants. If it's every month, we pay over $3,000
it averages out $2,800 a month for the year.
for the year.
Okay, calendar 10A, our next meeting is March 14th, 2023, April 4th, 2023, May 9th, 2023. We look forward to seeing you all there. Closing comments. I will just address a few of the questions that were brought up to the board. We had an email and letter from Ms. Debbie Ferrari. Question 1 was, will the board please demonstrate its effort to live up to the assertion that they made? That was referring to borrowing what was in the bond. And yes, we are definitely trying to follow the bond measure and follow legal counsel and our fiduciary counsel on that. Item 2, are we planning to borrow the 3 million right now? Yes, we addressed that earlier. 2A, why not complete the flood repairs and obtain all possible aid for the purpose as to not conflate the funds? We agree. We're looking into having some people to apply for grants. We've gotten a verbal comment from Assemblymember Lee that he said he's on the state budget committee and he said, I'm gonna find money for you guys to cover the stuff that was damaged. So he said that very clearly. I asked him a few questions about it. So I like that. It wasn't in writing, but who knows? Seems like a nice
But
guy.
now it's recorded.
Yeah. Yeah. Public record now, Assemblymember Lee. B, why not wait until we can start paying down principal to save interest? We want to use the funds to go ahead with design and construction. There's a lot of grants, or sorry, bonds that were approved, and we would like to get into DSA and get things repaired. We're concerned about our roof and the facilities. Let's see. C, if you borrow money now, what will the interest rate be? Mr. Isom's the one to answer that. I don't have an answer on the interest rate. I talked with him. It's changing. No one can predict what it will do.
And it'll be set at the time of bond, when the bonds are actually sold.
Correct. D, is there a definitive list of what this 3 million will be used for? If there is, can you please provide that in detail? Yes, that list was on the bond that was put out publicly with the bond and what was voted on. If for what the first 3 million will be used for is, it will start with advisors, architects, design, engineering to get us to DSA. 3 million by no means will all be used, but that will then get us started in our construction process, getting bids, getting contractors, getting started. And then hopefully that will get us through some of the more urgent priority list items, and then we can move on to the others. E, why not wait until the oversight committee is in place before you initiate borrowing of the money? We have our oversight committee and we will not be borrowing the money until March, you said, or end of April, you said?
Right, yeah.
End of March.
Yeah.
March, yeah. E, why not wait until, 3, can we have a steering committee? A steering committee or people to give advice is always welcome. We would love to have any people who have expertise in construction or in construction management or in design to please come and bring us their advice. If there are structural engineers who would like to come and give us a proposal, we're going to go out for proposal. We're going to request those proposals and we're going to move ahead with that. As far as people who make the decisions on the bond, we are the ones who make the decision. We are the elected governing board, and we are happy to have our public meetings and make these decisions with public input. So we very much appreciate the public input. We appreciate everyone contributing for fixing up the school, helping to give us advice, and any donations. The community organizations that are donating to help repair and fix things from the flood, and anyone who's wanting to help advise or help us with the construction process. So let's see, are there any other questions?
One of the questions wasn't
And that addresses
read properly.
question about other funding of people donating quarry, and those are things we're looking into and going out for grants. So as far as any other closing comments, Ms. Romo is not, or just Ms. Denise Kent is not here. And James Louder, you have 3 minutes. What was that? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That was supposed to be public comments.
Mine's real quick and not controversial. I just wanted to publicly thank Chrissy. Rarely do, and I don't mean this as an ego boost for myself, but I've done a lot of cooking for large groups. And I hear a lot of times about how somebody has experience with it and they just fall flat. But Chrissy completely held her own. And she did a pretty amazing job for the large group that she had to feed. She was very organized. She was very timely. When she said she was going to meet her deadlines, she met her deadlines. I would cook with her any day.
Thank you, James.
You both were amazing. I mean, that watching what was happening out with the grill and what was happening in the kitchen, it was amazing. And she's only been here 1 year. So we're not letting her go.
Mr. Hoxie is kind of a king out there, and he got to watch this time. How many times does that guy get to watch?
Exactly. And enjoy.
Mr. Hoxie, thumbs up.
I'm up for it.
All right, and with that, we'll end with the report on the food. Any other comments, closing comments?
I would just say that your tri-tip is excellent. And I know he tried to lay claim to it, but
Whoa,
no, you did. You were like, hey, try this. I made them.
I would never.
But it was excellent.
Thank you.
Any other closing comments, Linda?
I just wish we had had a little time ahead of time to look at these and discuss them instead of just being given your recommendations, and the idea of these other good applicants should have been also given a chance. This lottery thing is not a new thing. And if I had been given an opportunity to throw it out there as an idea to make things a little bit more even-handed, I would have appreciated it.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you,
We'll see at the
everybody.
Next meeting.
Really appreciate
Meeting's
it.
adjourned.
Yes.